welcome back to another craft kit tutorial. In a new area today, we are doing a more cooking based craft. So I'm actually in our staff kitchen, so we're going to work on that in here. So we are doing hot cocoa bombs this time. So in your craft kit you will have a silicone mold with 2 cavities, some chocolate. You'll have 3 ounces of dark and 1 of white, unless otherwise noted on your bag. There are a couple where that is switched. And then you'll have a hot cocoa packet. From home, you will need a spoon, a microwave safe bowl or mug to melt your chocolate in, and then a plate to melt your halves together. So I'm gonna go ahead and move around. We're gonna go towards the actual kitchen part, and I will try to walk you through this process in a new environment. Let's go. All right, I'm over here now. All right, so I think I've got everything we need here. We've got our chocolates, our mold, a spoon, and I have this delightful little duck mug. Like I said, a bowl or a cup would work fine. I'm just doing a cup because we're not melting very much at once. The first thing you need to do, these have not been washed, so make sure that you thoroughly wash this with soap and water, and make sure it is 100% dry. Water and chocolate are enemies, so we want to make sure this is 100% dry before we start trying to put any chocolate in it. Alright, so we're going to take our cute mug, and we're going to do this 1 ounce of chocolate at a time. We're going to work it up in layers. So I'm going to take 1 of my cubes, and we're going to microwave it for 30 seconds at a time. We don't want to go more than that because we don't want to accidentally burn or the chocolate or scorch it because it becomes really lumpy and unusable. So we're going to do this 30 seconds at a time. Alright. Mug is nice too because you have a little handle. Alright, so that is, we're getting there. Definitely need some more time. Make sure you kind of mix it around. I'm not doing a whole lot the first round here, but if it's a little hot, use a little something to pick it up with, just so you don't burn your hands. And we will do another 30 seconds. Alright, another 30 seconds down. Let's get that out now. Oh yeah, and we're getting quite a bit more melty here. So we'll stir that up. You're going to get a lot of melting just kind of from the ambient heat of the mug or your bowl. So we want to stop just a little bit before it's completely melted. I think I might try to do like 20 seconds this time because we're moving along. Alright, another 20 seconds. Done. Take that out. Yeah, you can see now. We are pretty well melted. I'm going to mix this up, and it really pretty much melts the rest of it. And we're actually starting to get a little bit of clumping up from it getting too hot. So we're going to stop. That took me 1 minute and 20 seconds to do. It's going to vary based on your microwave and how cold your chocolate was to start. Alright, so now we're going to take our molds, and I'm going to concentrate on trying to get mostly the sides with this chocolate because it will drip towards the bottom, and the sides are the hardest part to build up. So we're going to just take our chocolate and scoop it in, and then with the back of the spoon we're just kind of smoothing it all around. Make sure you kind of alternate between the two because you do have to fill up both of your cavities here. Do a little bit on the other side now. You can see I'm right now mainly just concentrating on my sides. Bottom needs to be done, but gravity does a lot of your work for the bottom of it. So we're not going to worry about that as much and just kind of let whatever drips down, we'll use that to cover the bottom. So we're doing this in 3 batches. So we're doing it 1 ounce at a time so that we can really work on making sure it's structurally sound. Because if you don't, I tried doing it all at once and I had the issue where our bottom was very, very thick and then our sides had almost nothing on it. So That's what we don't want to happen. You want to make sure that this is as covered as it can be. It's not going to be very thick the first time, and that's fine, but there is one side. And then, ooh, very careful with your mug. If you've got a hot pad or like a oven mitt, that might be a very smart idea for if you're trying to pick up your mug. It is very, very warm, so be very careful. I am using a disposable spoon for this, just for ease of use. I would recommend washing everything out between your uses, just so you're not cooking the same chocolate that already has been heated up, because I think it's more likely to seize up on you if you do that. So I'm going to throw out the spoon and wash out this mug really well before I do the next round. I'm just scraping the last little bit of chocolate out of this ounce here. I'm going to spread it on this side. Do it kind of, start at the bottom and kind of work it up, because my bottom didn't have any in it over there. Oops. All right. Now you need to let this completely set. So I'm going to check back in about 15 to 20 minutes. I'll let you guys know exactly how long it took to set, and then we're going to repeat the process with the second ounce of chocolate. So we will check back. Alright, we are back. It's been probably 10-15 minutes. It was really not that long, and everything is set to the touch. Be very careful handling it, because we don't want to accidentally break these, especially when they're so thin. So we're going to set that off to the side. I thoroughly washed and dried out my cup, and I got a nice clean spoon here, and we're just going to do the same thing. So another ounce of your chocolate, your main color, which is for most of you going to be the dark one, but there are a few white. You don't need to defrost. Alright, and then again we're going to do 30 seconds at a time. And last time we took 1 minute and 20 seconds. So we're going to check it again. I'm going to do about the same and see how it is, but make sure that you pull it before it's completely melted and let the heat from the cup finish all the melting. So I'll do it at 120 and we'll see where we're at, and I'll let you know how long it took this time. I'm back. We're still working on that second coat. What I'm doing is just kind of, you can see how thick it's getting here. I'm kind of just rotating it around, just slowly turning it to let that chocolate kind of just drip around the edges, and that's working pretty well for me too, and I'm not getting those big holes like I was. So just another method of trying to get that chocolate to move and to set where we want it to set. So again, it takes a little bit of time and patience, but it's worth it if we can get a nice complete ball out of it. So I'm just going to kind of keep working it around like that until we're not having so much chocolate dripping, because it is kind of setting as we're doing. Okay, round 2 is done. It didn't take as long because we honestly worked with the chocolate quite a bit, but it doesn't have to be super smooth on the inside as long as it's coated, because the outside is all you're really going to see. So last time here, we're going to do our last of our main color chocolate. And I'm going to do 1 minute 10 this time, since we seemed to still be going over a little bit. Alright, so we will do that, and then we will come back, and I will fill this up for the last time, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I did 1 minute 10 that time. I had to stir quite a bit at the end to really make sure that I had all the lumps out, but this is the best it's looked. There's no kind of clumping up or burning of that chocolate. So for me, 1 minute 10 probably works the best, but again, it's going to depend on your microwave. All right, and then we're going to do this one more time. I want to focus all of it on the sides. I want to get as little as possible on the bottom, because I can already tell that that is plenty thick. So even if you end up going over the edges a little bit, I am not even concerned about the bottom. I only want this on the sides, because we have plenty on the bottom. So I'm just going to kind of work around and just really loop it up on the sides here. And again, we're going to have to kind of move it around because it's going to melt and it's going to kind of pool at the bottom like it always does, but we're going to at least start by really focusing on those sides. If you're going to have any issue with this, that is going to be your issue, which is we're trying to prevent that from doing it in multiple batches because we're trying to control where that chocolate goes a little bit better than we can if we did it all at once. I'm sure if you did this all the time and you really had the feel for it, you could probably do all the chocolate at once, but I did not have much luck that way, so we're not going to risk it. If you are a baking family and you have like a pastry brush, that would be another great way to really get that chocolate in there, probably better than the spoon because you could really brush it on in thinner layers, but I know most people, myself included, don't really have that, so that's totally fine. We're just going to work with what we have and do the best with what we have. Now I'm going to do the same thing we did the last time, where I'm going to kind of twirl it around and try to get all that stuff that settled at the bottom to stick up on the sides. I did this for a few minutes and then I used my spoon once it was, I don't know, half set up or so to kind of really stick it up on the sides better. So just take your time and be patient with it. I just did this until I would say it was, I don't know, maybe 60% set so that I could really direct it where I wanted it to go. So we're going to do this. I'm going to swirl it around. I'm going to make sure I continue to stick that chocolate up towards the sides. And then when I'm happy with where it's at and we're starting to set, I'm going to let that set up. Doing it this way, I only had to let it set for about probably not even 10 minutes because it was partially set when I was done with this part. But you may let it set a couple extra minutes this time because we're actually unmolding it. So maybe give this 20 minutes or so just to really make sure we're all set because we want to make sure this is really good to go before we take it out of the mold. So, all right, I'll work on that and we'll come back and see you. Okay, we're back. It has been a little bit. I let this set a little longer this time just to really make sure we're good. And we are all set up in there. It's a little lumpy bumpy in there, but that's not a big deal. So we're gonna get a few things out while we're thinking about it. So I have just a plate. I have a paper one, but you can use whatever to put your unmolded side on. I have a microwave safe plate that we're going to use to help melt the other side. And then you're gonna need your hot cocoa packet as well. Okay, so before I start this, if for some reason this doesn't come out of the mold, as long as you didn't scorch this too bad, you can remold this and do it again. So don't panic too badly. I'm panicking a little because this is always a stressful part. All right, so we're going to unmold just 1/2 of this, and we're going to do so by kind of gently peeling back. I'm going to loosen it up a little bit by kind of going around the edges and peeling that back like so. Okay, and then the other half we're going to just leave in there for now. Okay, so take your, get that away from the edge of my cabinet before I drop it. Take your hot cocoa mix and we're going to pour that into the other half of your hot cocoa bomb. It should be just about enough to put the whole packet in. And then level that out. Throw that away, like so. And then set this aside, set this aside, throw this away. All right, take your plate and we're gonna stick it in the microwave for, let's say a minute. We just wanna warm up the plate. Okay, I'm smart and I retrieved an oven mitt this time. All right, so I wanna see that this is warm, which it is warm. It doesn't have to be really, really boiling hot, but just warm enough that it's going to melt the chocolate. So you want to take your chocolate and we're going to put it seam side down on the plate. Kind of rub it around a little bit so we make sure all of the edges are melted. Okay, like that. And then stick it on top, best you can, on the other one. Now, you might not get an absolutely perfect seal, and that's okay, because we are going to put this in hot chocolate. It's not like it has to be structurally sound forever. Alright, so while that's setting up, we're going to melt our chocolate for the top drizzle. We're going to do this one last time, this time with our white chocolate. We're going to do it 30 seconds at a time. We're going to stop at a minute 10 like we normally do. Alright, so I have good news and bad news. So the good news is this did seem to seal. The bad news is I have a hole, which is unfortunate. We are putting this in hot cocoa, so it's not the end of the world. Mine is not very pretty. I tried to patch the hole. Didn't work very well. So don't worry too much. We are going to put this right in hot chocolate, or right to make hot chocolate anyway. Alright, so now what we want to do, this is still a little bit wet, but I'm going to go ahead and unmold it. Is we're going to peel this back carefully. Like that. And unmold. As you can see, we are stuck together, which is awesome. Close the sink. We are stuck together, which is awesome. But we do have that little hole, so it's okay. Things happen, but you do have a complete ball, which is pretty awesome. So what you would do with this then is you would put it in a cup and then pour over some hot water or milk, or I use almond milk because I have issues with regular milk, and it was delicious as well. So we'll just pop this in a mug, put some hot whatever liquid you would like over it, and it dissolves, stir it all together, you have a very rich chocolatey treat. So there we go. So there we have it. We are through and we are done. Like I said, work slow, build up the sides, be very careful with that drizzle on top, as we have learned. But regardless, it's a nice, yummy treat. And once you put it in that hot liquid, you're not going to know the difference anyway. So, thank you guys again. You can come pick this up at the main library bench if you want to try it out. And hopefully, we'll have a little winter treat to celebrate the end of winter. And I'll cross our fingers. Have a good one, guys. Thanks.